This week on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Every time you're telling us what to do about Dorit, and when you don't know the whole situation either.
Let me just put it in relative terms, right? I am calling things as I see them.
So are we.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 14, Episode 12. Let's get right into this. Okay, so the episode begins with the women in Augusta, Georgia, packing up to leave. It's the end of their trip. Kyle and Garcelle are admitting to Sutton that they were listening to the conversation she had with RHOBH last night. RHOBH happened to be hearing them when they're saying this to Sutton, and then she walks on in and she says to Garcelle, "You're really chatty this morning." But you know what? I'm really glad that Garcelle is like witty with it and she like goes along with the banter. Sutton is very happy because the conversation that she did have with her mom the night before went very well. She's telling her mom that she's going to need to tell her that she loves her at least once a year. And RHOBH is also making her little jokes, but she actually does say it. She says, "I love you, Sutton." And it meant everything to Sutton. I was really happy to see how how she was glowing because she said that like that's all she wants to hear. And then they all had a group hug and then they get going. It's a little sad because Kyle, it's not that she doesn't want to necessarily go back home, but she knows that she's going back to an empty house, which sucks. So then we see Bose. She has a friend of hers come over. Her name is Tina. Bose says that Tina is like a sister to her, and they're having some nice drinks. They're outside, and Bose tells her that she will be meeting with a fertility doctor soon. They're going to be doing scans and injecting her with things and getting samples from Keely. We know what samples means. Bose admits that this is scary. She was pregnant one time. This was her first pregnancy with her first daughter, Eve. 5 months into that pregnancy, she got a disease that affects her blood pressure. And basically, it affected her pregnancy, and that baby unfortunately died. But she didn't give up. She had Liel. Thank God, we know that Liel, it was a perfect pregnancy, but while she was pregnant, Bose was terrified. Every time she would go see the doctor, she was worried that she would get bad news because of what had happened previously. And she can't help but to think about that happening again. I really think that she should get a surrogate. I know that she has expressed that she really wants to deliver the baby, which is totally understandable. But if she's actually going to go forward with it, I think she should get a surrogate to ensure that her and the baby are okay. Okay, so then it is a new day, and Dorit is having a 4th of July party. It was a pretty hot day because Kyle checked the temperature and it said there was a excessive heat warning. Kyle FaceTimed Erika because Kyle is aware of what Bose said at Kathy's house. Just to remind you, Bose said to Kathy, "I'm finding your sister to be a bit cold." So Kyle might bring this up today. So Dorit says that she really loves the holidays. She likes to go all out. I didn't think this party was all that, like all over the top. Like just compared to the other parties that we've seen in Beverly Hills, this kind of looked like a backyard weekend, but it was okay. Sutton was the first one there, and when she walked in there wasn't anybody in the house to open the door or to greet her, so she has to sit there for a while because Dorit was somewhere getting ready. It's also funny because in the entrance, so when you walk into the house, you open the door, the first thing you see in the center is Dorit has this big black table right there in the center with like 10 different pictures of her and PK and their wedding. And Kyle says, "Is this a shrine or what is this?" So when Dorit comes out, Kyle points out these pictures and Dorit goes and talks about these pictures, but Sutton has an attitude. She really had an attitude ever since she walked in and there was no one to greet her. Do I think that her not being greeted is a reason to get mad and be in a mood? No. Like, that's crazy. Like, we've seen this happen a lot of times when the host isn't ready and people walk on in. It's not a big deal. Calm down. But, unfortunately, here's the thing. Sutton was already mad before she even got here, so but that made her more mad, right? Because her and Dorit, there's some tension there. But Dorit makes it worse because upon this tension, she then gets Sutton's bag, and I guess she's being playful about it, and she's like, "Oh, this is my bag now." She's trying to make a joke, but Sutton is like being super tough. Her energy's so like just blocking it. And Dorit doesn't really have that comedic timing, so it's a mess. It's a mess. It's awkward and weird. Garcelle then arrives and she almost fell. I feel so bad she tripped, but she was okay. So they're sitting outside and Garcelle says to Sutton, "Sutton, what are you drinking?" And Sutton says, "Oh, some watermelon drink." And Garcelle says, "It's got alcohol in it." So then Dorit turns to Garcelle and says, "Did you just ask her what she's drinking?" Garcelle says, "Yeah." Dorit says, "And you asked her if there's alcohol in it?" Sutton then says, "Oh, Dorit, shut up. You're such a bitch." Whoa. So Sutton says that's not nice. Like, don't say there's alcohol in it. This is because Sutton is still mad about last season when Dorit, among others, had kind of put out this narrative saying that Sutton might be an alcoholic or that she drinks too much. So Dorit says to Sutton, "If you could do me a favor and not call me a bitch in my own home, I'd really appreciate it." And then Sutton says, "Okay, I'm gonna go." Dorit says, "Sutton, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just saying don't call me a bitch for effing sake." So Sutton gets up and leaves. Kyle and Garcelle immediately go after her. Sutton was pissed. She's cussing left and right. And Garcelle says, "I get it. You were already upset before you even got here." She's just really bad at saying jokes. As this is happening, Bose makes her way inside, and then Sutton goes to hide in the corner. I don't know why. What was that about? As soon as Bose walks in, Sutton goes and hides. But she was really upset though. I thought it was really nice seeing Garcelle and Kyle being there for her and trying to calm her down, especially given the trip that they just came back from. They say to her, "Listen, you're the bigger person. Just come hang out with us." Sutton is so mad that she gets that little crown she's wearing and throws it on the floor. So Kyle goes to talk to Dorit to say maybe you should go and encourage her to stay. And Dorit says, "Well, it looks like she's going to listen to the two of you. She's not going to listen to me. And she called me a bitch. What I should really be doing is kicking her out of my house." Dorit is being super shady in her confessional also and saying that maybe Sutton is mad because there is some truth to the rumor. The next one to arrive is Erika, and they're all standing by the door. So Erika sees them right away and she sees that Sutton is upset. She says, "What's going on?" And Sutton says, "I'm leaving." Erika was being nice and she says, "Oh, tell me what's going on." Sutton says, "Well, Dorit brought up the vodka thing and I don't want her to keep on perpetuating that rumor again." Kathy gets there too, and everyone again is by the door, and Bose is like, "What is going on over there?" So she approaches the ladies and says, "Can we go inside of the house?" And then they all say to her, "No, Sutton is leaving." Bose says to Sutton, "Come into the house." And Sutton says, "I am not comfortable." Bose says, "Dorit is hosting a party here." And then that's when Garcelle says, "Stop being Dorit's spokesperson." And Bose says, "I'm not being her spokesperson. It's just rude that y'all are over here in someone's house in the entrance and refusing to go on in." So Bose just walks away. She says, "Y'all need to stop coddling her." So now Kyle, Sutton, and Garcelle are mad at Bose. They feel like she's scolding them and because she said they were being rude. So then Sutton actually leaves after that. The rest of them stay. They go get their hot dog, their cheeseburger, their watermelon drink, and Garcelle says that Sutton left because she didn't feel welcome there. Sounds like a spokesperson. I'm just kidding. But Garcelle says to Dorit, "You made a comment that made her feel uncomfortable." And then that's when Bose says, Is that as bad as being called a bitch in her own home?" And Garcelle didn't really say anything after that. Bose says, "I'm glad you were there to support her, but in the spirit of sisterhood, shouldn't we all be like together, rallying up?" And that's when Garcelle says, "Why are you talking about sisterhood? You just went in there and called us all rude." She says, "You're telling us things to defend Dorit when you don't even know the whole context." Bose says, "I call it how I see it." Garcelle says, "But you're being one-sided. Didn't you say that Kyle isn't being welcoming to you?" Bose says, "Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying it. We haven't connected, but I never said she was like a cold-hearted bitch or something like that." So that's when Kyle addresses Bose and says, well, that's a surprise because I felt like we have actually connected and I heard what you said to Kathy. Bose then explains, I I haven't had deep conversations with you like I have with everybody else. I have felt that you are a bit distant and cold. There just isn't really much warmth to work with. Kyle says, well, I feel like I was being singled out because you probably took Dorit's side because you got to know her first. Your actions suggest that you're biased. Bose then lets them all know, I am not somebody who is led. Kyle says, I think you have a hard on for me. Like, for example, you told me to stop texting PK and to block him. Who are you, Judge Judy? You haven't even met PK. And that's when Dorit chimes in and says, she doesn't need to know PK. Bo says, listen, I'm not pushing you off because you think I'm being led by Dorit. Kyle says, but I've shared so much about my life to y'all. And Dorit says, well, to be honest, I don't really even know what's going on with you right now. So that's when Kyle gets mad. What are you talking about? You just want to agree with Bose. You're all up on her ass. It's gross. It's like, why is it gross, Kyle? Kyle says, you're backing Bose on everything she's saying. You know I'm separated from my husband. You know what's going on. And Dorit says, can you not scream? And Garcelle says, she's not screaming. Dorit then says to Kyle, did we or did we not make up at Garcelle's beach house? Kyle then is able to calm down. She lowers her tone, she lowers her temperature, and she says, yes, we are starting from scratch. We both will. Dorit says, okay. They hug it out, and then Dorit takes Kyle inside the house, upstairs, and Dorit's got a mess. She's packing stuff, trying to get rid of other things, and Kyle says that when her husband left, she started taking up some of his closet space little by little, and of course it felt very weird at first. She says that first they were separating for a few months to spend time apart, but it started to feel real when he started buying new furniture for his new place. Dorit says, how do you feel? Do you want to get back together with him? And Kyle says, uh, 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 um, right now, I just want to take this time, even though I'm not doing anything with it. Dorit asks, do you want a divorce? Kyle says, well, I don't know. I don't want to be like this forever. So if we don't get back together, then we will. Dorit asks, well, do you want to get back together? And Kyle says, well, we're not together right now. I was like, what is it with this, like, the way she was saying these things was kind of weird to me. Like, it's a yes or no, Kyle. Then they're just both sort of sharing what they're going through, how it feels, what are the men thinking. And Dorit says that one of the things that worries her is like, she doesn't know what PK is doing right now. What if he's out there acting like a single man? Kyle says, well, I'm sure we would know that, given who we are, like, I'm sure we would know. And then that's when the screen shows 1 week later, and they show the articles that came out of Mauricio being spotted with some random girl kissing her. So that was it, and next week we will see more of that conversation. That was the end of the episode. This was a good episode. It was very dramatic. Now, let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion, you guys. So please don't come for me too hard. But my unpopular opinion is I'm with Bose, and I don't agree with Garcelle saying to her, "Don't be Dorit's spokesperson," only because I don't think Bose is Dorit's spokesperson. Because if Bose is to be considered Dorit's spokesperson, then Garcelle would have to be considered Sutton's spokesperson, which I'm not saying she is. I don't think she is. I know in this episode, Erika made a comment that, well, maybe Garcelle is Sutton's spokesperson, and then they showed a lot of clips of when Garcelle has defended Sutton. Again, I don't think it's being a spokesperson from either one, from Bose or Garcelle. I think they're both just defending their friend. And I know people make the argument, but Bose barely knows Dorit. I don't think that holds much weight. I know if something is right or wrong because I know something is right or wrong. It doesn't have anything to do with how long I've known the people or whatever. Like Bose says, I call it how I see it. So I disagree with Garcelle. I don't think Bose is her spokesperson. And Sutton, I really enjoyed seeing her in her hometown and seeing more of her. And my heart really, it went out to her. But I also think I agree with Bose again. why are y'all coddling a grown ass woman like she's a baby in the entrance? Don't leave and this and that. Like, if she wants to leave, let her leave. But yeah, guys, if y'all disagree, definitely let me know. It's okay. We can all disagree. We don't have to always agree. But yeah, I would hate to see Garcelle and Bose fall out because because of like who's trying to defend their friend. Like, that would be that I don't think that will happen. I think they're both very mature. But yeah, guys, let me know what your thoughts were about this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one.